Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are and when you are watching this. My name is Damien Alexander. Thank you for either watching this live or watching the recording of our regular Asia Pacific Australian SQF Institute webinar series as part of our 365 webinar series for our local region. Before I introduce our guest speaker this morning, who's going to be talking about the benefits of the quality code and process control, I need to do just a little bit of housekeeping, if you don't mind. There we go. Just to let you know that we are running a safe quality food focus day / conference day. We're limited to 100 registrations. We're running this with the CSIRO in Melbourne at the Innovation Hub in Werribee. Numbers are filling fast. So that is the 14th of November. We have some fantastic guest speakers. And the theme of the conference, theme of the day, is around the future of food safety. So what effectively, if you're a quality manager or working in this industry, what's around the corner? What's coming up? So if you are interested, it's from memory, I think it's $60 USD for the day. So please, we would love to see you there. Likewise, for our New Zealand cousins, we're running one on the 21st of November. Same theme, similar theme. Oh, excuse me. Limited to 100 registrants as well. We're doing that with the University of Auckland, and we've happy to be inviting a whole heap of the University of Auckland food science students to participate as part of that for free. It's part of our networking opportunity and hoping to develop some future leaders in the food safety, food quality industry. Likewise, too, we didn't run one this year, but however, next year we're running the SQF Unites conference, which is in New Orleans, March, New Orleans. For those of you who are lucky enough or happy enough to travel to the other side of the world, looking forward to seeing you there. And we normally get a pretty good contingent of people from Australia, the Asia Pacific region. So that's been announced fairly recently. And then finally, as I said, this is part of our series of SQF 365 events where we welcome guest presenters to present on topics that are relevant to the food industry. The previous one that I ran in our region was around food recall crisis management. This one is obviously regarding the quality code. However, we would welcome any input or thoughts or suggestions regarding the topics that you would like us to discuss and talk about. The idea is behind these series, the local series, is that we are inviting international guest speakers, international subject matter experts to talk on topics relevant to achieving food safety outcomes. So while this one is specific to SQF, they're not all specific to SQF. It can be various topics. So please, my email address is at the end of this presentation. We would welcome you to email myself of any suggestions and topics. And likewise, if you'd like to be part of the series, please reach out to me as well. We have a number of and this is just an example of them, a number of ones that are all available on the SQFI website under the 365 series, which you can download and not download. You can actually just log in and look at them. They're online, recorded, ready for you to watch. So lots of ones already, but we're going to be doing them continually. Generally in the Asia Pacific region, it's between a month and 6 weeks. We run them fairly regularly on hopefully topics that are of interest to you. So today's presentation is, as I mentioned, is regarding the SQF quality code and process control. So the SQF quality code is edition 9. It is part of the suite of industry-specific codes in the SQF series. It is a standalone quality code where, for the majority of businesses that are under the SQF banner, certified to a food safety code. The quality code focuses on quality, and again, I'll let Cathy explain this, but focuses on quality rather than food safety and process control. So tying it into business efficiencies and the quality of the product. The quality code, while it's a standalone, and I know from my experience, a number of businesses in Australia incorporate as part of their food safety program the quality elements as well, which ties directly into the SQF quality code standard. So businesses are certified to the quality code as well. And interestingly enough, and many may not be aware of this, that businesses that are certified to a GFSI equivalent code, then they can also add the SQF quality code. So it doesn't have to be SQF. They might be ISO or FSSC 22000, for example. They can also add the quality code as part certification in addition to that. So standalone focusing on quality and, again, process control and the benefits of that. Now, before I jump over, or I actually will, I'll jump in and hand over to Cathy. However, Cathy, and I'm sure many of the audience who are viewing would be aware of Cathy Lee. So Cathy Lee's been in the industry, sorry, Cathy, I have to say 42 years. Is that correct?
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
So Cathy started in the food industry back in a Woolworths laboratory. She's worked as a quality manager across lots of different food industries, research and development, some production management as well. So across the plethora of the food industry. She's been a registered food safety auditor for 30 years. So under Exemplar Global as a master auditor. She has been doing SQF audits since forever. She's an SQF consultant. And likewise, she's a registered SQF trainer as well. So has a whole heap of experience working with SQF, but she's not just SQF. So she also does a plethora of other standards as well as part of the suite of the services that she offers. So Cathy, welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, if you like, let's share your screen and I'll let you kick off, and I'm going to throw some questions to you as we work our way through.
Sure. Let me make sure I've got the right screen up. Okay, can you see my screen there? You should be able to.
Excellent.
Awesome. Sorry, I've got a number of screens going myself and I have to check which one I'm looking at. Okay, well, thanks everyone. As Damien said, I've been around forever. Feels like forever. Just celebrated my 60th birthday, and I used to not like the 0 birthdays, but I've decided to adopt this one and celebrate it. And the celebrations have been going on for about 2 weeks now. I want to talk about quality. So I wanted to start with a very, very brief introduction to quality, just to remind everybody what it's about. Damien's already introduced the quality code. So the food safety code and the quality code with SQF they're interrelated, but they're different. One focuses purely on food safety. The other one looks at business processes beyond food safety perspective. So I can just see my hand flipping around. I'm a trainer. I talk with my hands.
Cathy, sorry to interrupt you. You're sounding a little bit wavy. You're speaking. It's sort of cutting in and out slightly.
Oh, okay.
That's better. That's better.
Is that better?
That's heaps better. Yep.
I had my cheat notes sitting on top of my computer. I must have been hiding the microphone. Okay, so now I go freestyle without my cheat notes. This is great. So quality has, started off in the Middle Ages. People think that it started in the 40s with Deming and Duran, but it's really been around forever. The old hallmark signs on our jewelry were the gold guilds, identifying who were the master craftsmen and who were allowed to actually do things because they could do it properly. Over the years, it's changed. The Industrial Revolution changed everything in the 20th century. the quality gurus came up. Deming and Duran are the names that get thrown around a lot. Lean manufacturing started, Six Sigma started in the 80s and the 90s. It was not done very well at that stage because it was heavy and onerous. Over the years, we've simplified it to the extent that people could actually use it. And then this century, just in the last 20 odd years, and I hate saying that this century is over 20 years old now, it makes me feel really old, but digital transformation, supply chain integration, everyone is talking about sustainability, social responsibility. All of the global standards are adopting all of these new concepts into their quality standards. A lot of our quality it's not our quality. A lot of our food safety management programs have been dictated by the retailers for a long time in Australia, and in the rest of the world. But Australia seems to be, I think we've got a couple of big players in the field that have sort of started saying, we want you to do this, we want you to do that. The customers are very prescriptive in their requirements. They even go as far as telling you, in some cases, what CCPs you should have, what quality limits you should have. And that tends to stop us from taking a good look at ourselves and saying, where do we really want to be in our marketplace? We tend to get a bit lazy and just do what we're told to do. I don't know if anybody else has found that, but I'm seeing that as
Cathy, sorry to interrupt. Have you found that over the years? Have you found that the prescription from customers has increased, particularly around quality elements?
Yeah, not around quality so much. I find that it's increased dramatically with food safety. Like I said, when I go to a client and I say I'm doing an audit and I'm saying, why is that a CCP? Explain it to me. Oh, it's because our customer said it had to be.
Sure.
Yeah.
So in the traditional food manufacturing, food safety space, and this is a pretty open-ended question, but what's your definition of quality? What do you see quality as?
Okay, in my world, quality is giving the customer what they want and doing it right the first time.
Yep.
To put it in really simple terms.
Okay. So then to break out when we're looking at the SQF quality code, that focuses on quality, where the SQF food safety codes focus on food safety. So
Correct.
both of them incorporate, and sorry if I'm jumping the gun a little bit, but both of them incorporate HACCP. So so under HACCP Codex, quality can be incorporated. So under that criteria, it'd be that the quality is your size, shape, color, texture, weight, all of the things that aren't necessarily going to cause illness or injury, I suppose.
Absolutely. And a lot of people actually say to me, and we have jumped ahead towards the end of the presentation, but that's okay. But a lot of people will say to me, what do I have to have in my quality plan? Okay, do a hazard analysis, do a risk assessment. What does your business need? What do your customers need?
Yeah.
So don't look at biological, chemical, and physical. Look at customer requirements and exactly as you say, size, shape, dimensions, color. Is it too blue? Is it too red? Is it not red enough? Those sort of parameters.
Sure.
They're the things that we get a lot of customer complaints about, but a lot of people don't record them because they're not food safety.
Sure.
Yeah. Risk mitigation is a key part of any quality management system. It's in there. There's lots of words that get thrown around with quality, customer satisfaction. I mentioned, doing things the right way, brand reputation, consistently delivering high quality products and services. With that one, as I was writing this, a few days ago, I was sort of going through it, and Qantas was all over the news with the new CEO and the work they're doing at the moment to try and rebuild their brand reputation. Rebuild the trust in the brand. Anyone out there that's had a product recall will know that the damage that it does to your brand is incredible, and you have to do a lot of work to get that trust back from the public, even if you're implicated, but maybe not even your fault. it's a supplier's issue. It's your bread that's on the line. And when it comes to quality, that's what we want to look at. We also want to look at things like cost reduction and having a competitive advantage. Is the cheaper product better? Or sometimes we can have a better quality product, which we can then sell at a premium and make better profits on it. But it's about knowing that and knowing your market and understanding what your customers really want.
Sure. And again, sorry to interject again, but
Yeah.
with probably two quick points is that one of the things with the SQF quality code is, but as we discussed, based on you doing your hazard analysis, etc., incorporating quality, and it varies depending on the business, but often you'll have a lot of not often, it can happen with, you'll have a quality team and a production team, and they'll sit quite separately. And obviously production is going to be focusing on dollars and cents per kilo or whatever the case may be. Likewise, they'll have some focus on quality as well, regardless. And the quality/food safety team will have their focus as well. Now, one of the benefits I see with the quality code is integrating those quality risks and those production risks, bringing quality and production closer together, particularly around that cost focus. So you're talking the same language, you're on the same page, and likewise doing that hazard analysis and doing it appropriately, the business then understands their risks around quality and helps to control it. Sorry, Cathy, my 2 cents. Can't help myself.
No, it just reminded me of 1,000 years ago when I was in manufacturing and I was working in the quality department, and somebody said to me, the quality department spends money, the production department makes money. And
Yep.
even then, as a fairly young, naive QA person, I was like, no, that's not right. No, we're trying to help you save money as well. We're just making sure it's right and it's what the customer wants as well.
Excellent.
So the code, this little diagram is not from SQF. It's just a diagram that I kind of like when it comes to quality. And it talks about the drivers and the enablers. So it's all about customer satisfaction at the end, but we have our objectives, our customer focus, our resources, and our processes that all sort of push quality along the system. Our enablers are data-based analytics leading to continual improvement. So having good data that we're making decisions on, not just putting our finger up and seeing which way the wind's blowing today, but saying we're doing this because of this reason. SQF, I just went through a couple of clauses of SQF, and you could go on and on and on, but all the clauses, customer focus, there's a 213 talks about complaint management, 241 is around customer requirements, 242 is the quality fundamentals. When we get to the data-based analytics, I've actually put that in bold and highlighted it, because a lot of companies don't do this very well. This is the process control side of things. Many auditors don't audit it very well. The number of times I've been to an audit and somebody has said to me, I've never been asked that question before when I'm asking about process capability. And that, it sort of blows me away every time it happens. And I keep thinking I shouldn't be surprised because it keeps happening. So SQF quality code talks about process control, this data-based analysis. This is just some of the clauses where it's mentioned it. I don't expect you to read all of that. There's a lot of words on that slide. But it just goes through, it talks about reducing process variation. It talks about collection of analysis for data for product quality attributes. It talks about training people in process control methodology. Our quality team needs to understand what we're doing when we're doing our risk management system. Our internal auditors, I love the fact that it says quality internal auditors shall be trained, blah, 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 have a knowledge and experience in quality processes and process control methods. So the people that are doing the job need to understand what they're doing. Again, it's one of those things that, particularly when we start talking about SPC, a lot of production teams do this, but a lot of quality teams don't. To Damien's point earlier, they sort of sit in different fields. And SQF is saying, well, the quality team needs to understand this as well. The practitioner needs to understand it.
So, Cathy, sorry,
Yeah.
just a quick question. Process control. So the code and your quality manager traditionally is the plan, do, check, act. And effectively the quality code it covers those elements around monitoring and checking and so forth. But and it keeps mentioning process control. So what's your interpretation? What does process control mean? And apologies if I'm asking you to repeat yourself slightly, but
no, that's okay. In plain English, I guess process control is about managing our process to make sure that things happen the way they're supposed to happen.
Yep. Okay.
It's about looking at our process and saying, this is what we want. Are we actually doing that? And are we doing it consistently? So it's about monitoring, managing, adjusting and moderating our processes to make sure that we get consistent product, we maintain conformity, we reduce wastage, we understand the variations in our process so we can take that into account and any negative impact those variations can have.
Sure. So the code is designed to obviously to incorporate those, incorporating traditional quality management elements, but also specifically for our industry. So it can make it relevant for our industry. Okay, thank you.
How am I going for time? Oh, yeah, I think I'll get through this.
You're good. Plenty of time.
Okay. So how do companies do it? As soon as they hear it happened a couple of versions of SQF ago where they talked about statistical process control and everybody went running for the hills. And they went, it's too hard. We can't do Six Sigma. And it's not about that. It's about using data to make decisions. Okay, so it's not doesn't have to be a full Six Sigma project. If you're a multinational organization with unlimited resources, yes, sure, have Six Sigma teams all over the place. That's where the Motorola's and the who were the people that started it, the Toyotas and the likes that all started the Six Sigma programs. They had lots of people around. We don't, and the food industry in particular is so tight on resources. Our margins are so low that we don't have money to throw around on extra teams. So it's about working out what tools we need to have to give us the confidence that we're consistently meeting our desired income.
So what would be an example, Cathy, of the monitoring, the measuring, how that process control would be actually applied? What would be an example of that?
It's about looking for things like we mentioned it before, the weights and the sizes. Weights sometimes in HACCP plans, they put them in as regulatory control points. People that don't will have them as a quality control point. When we're talking regulatory, we're talking about minimum weights or customers that are saying you can't be below the labeled net weight. When we're talking about process controls, it's about identifying that maximum weight as well. We don't want to be giving away too much. We don't want to be spending too much money. So where's the ideal for us to sit? And that's where things like control charts can be useful to say, what is that variation between when we're doing a process? A lot of us are working with natural products. You get what you're given from the field or from the paddocks. So what sort of natural variation do we have and how do we manage that to get the most consistent product we possibly can?
Sure. So again, a good example of linking your traditional food safety team to the quality controls, cost controls through production. So joining. Awesome.
Yeah. So we want to understand, measure, and reduce our variation, and we use that by choosing appropriate tools. So control charts. There are statistical formulations you can use. They scare me. My business is a partnership, and the other partner is the stats nerd. He loves it. He does all the statistics stuff. I can draw a control chart because I like pretty pictures and lots of colours. Different people like different things. But the basic premise is we use things such as control charts to say, is my process stable and can I trust it? Do we know that we've got the capability of doing what our customers want us to do? So we take the data from those control charts and graph them up and look at the lower control limits, the upper control limits. Where do we want to be? How do we make it all happen?
Sure. So a lot of businesses will already have, if you're in production and you're a small to medium sized business, you will already be focusing on this. But I guess the benefits is that then you're effectively going to be certified to the SQF quality code, which ties in a level of certification around that process control. So tightening it up, giving you some guidance around it, making sure that it supports the profitability of the business.
Yeah.
And customers, of course.
Yeah. And a lot of people come to us and say, don't know where to start. And when we look at their processes, they are doing it.
Yeah.
There are other companies that go, I know my process is in control. And I say, how do you know that? And they go, because we never get any complaints.
Yep.
Well, that's one way to measure it. But, you know, if you ended up in a court of law and you had to prove it, I mean, not that you're going to end up in a court of law over a quality issue, probably. However, how do you know that? Is it just good luck or is it good management?
Sure.
So, we had one example. It wasn't a food company, but it was one that we were working with a couple of years ago. They were getting complaints around delivery times, not being met. And so we worked out they had a lot of variations in packing times, and it was around poor management of the processes. They had a lot of backwards and forwards processes. They had a lot of reworking and rehandling. That little control chart at the top of that slide kind of shows where you can see an unstable process. It's outside of the specification limits. It's either too close to the mean, because that can be a problem as well, or it's way out of the spec limits. So it's about pulling those together. When we started looking at this and working out what was causing that variation, we were able to get a reduction in both the time to pack and the packaging costs. This particular company, now it was a big, large multinational, like I said, it was a non-food business, but they worked out that within 2 years, they saved $20 million.
Yeah.
Just on a couple of little tweaks that we said. We didn't suggest them, they found them, but we worked with them as a team to get them to identify these causes of the instability. I can speak good English too.
You're doing great.
Okay, well that's probably all I really wanted to talk about. It's about making sure that you understand how your process works. Now here comes the unabashed plug for Takeoff Consulting.
Sorry. Just before you do that, and I would be remiss not to point this out as well, is that one of the benefits of the quality code is you actually can, once you're certified to the quality code, you can use the SQF logo. So there's criteria around it, but it can be used on, for example, packaging. And I'd still see them floating around every now and then in Australia. But it's particularly, I know, in Japan and across Asia, it's used quite extensively. So that's one of I have to point out that, otherwise I'll be in big trouble. But yes, it's one of the benefits you get then. And it's one of the very few standards you actually then, once you're certified, can use the SQF tick logo as part of that. Sorry, Cathy.
Now, no, that's all right. I had that in my little notes to mention it, and I forgot all about it.
All good. And then the other thing too, very, very quickly, is the statistical analysis and process control. Have you come across or aware of any, using artificial intelligence or different types of newer type of programs that link into, that process control processes? Have you seen new technology around that to make it easier?
I haven't seen a lot. I know that people are using it. Yep. I know they're using it in things like X-ray machines and stuff like that, but I haven't actually seen it. Have you seen it yourself?
Yeah, X-ray and artificial intelligence around that statistical analysis and so forth. Yes. But I know some of the software that you can now apply. I mean, going back, like you have been in the industry for some time, where it was previously you'd pull it out and do it in an Excel spreadsheet. Some of the statistics process.
Sorry, Damien, we used to do it on graph paper.
Oh, yeah. But some of the software that's available now is incredible. That effectively and likewise equipment that'll pull the data and provide the business that statistical process or analysis then you can get real time data, which ties in with the element of the code around monitoring and then making adjustments and so forth to make sure all corrective action to bring it back under control. So yeah, that I think it's gotten easier. Well, we've got more choice out there now with but I think it's gotten easy with the equipment and the software that's available to
definitely do. And definitely when we do our SPC courses, we talk about that sort of software where you plug your numbers in. So you still need to measure, and monitor, but then that data gets plugged in the machine and it does it all for you. It's a magic. The wonderful world of Google is an amazing little thing.
Yeah, all the machine measures for you automatically.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, let's plug you.
Okay, no, that's okay. I've had the slide up there long enough. I'm quite happy. It's one of those things that, as an auditor and trainer and consultant, I keep seeing this process control being a gap. People don't know about it. They don't understand it. They brush over it. So we've developed pretty well a suite of courses to help people doing that. And it ranges from a one-day classroom type activity through to us coming in and working with the business to set up a process improvement team. We do problem solving. Root cause analysis comes into that. People don't do root cause analysis very well if they're having a series of problems. What's really getting in? Process mapping. Using those lean methodologies to increase efficiencies within the business. If the concepts are implemented effectively, the outputs are generally some sort of demonstrable actions that you can show your key stakeholders, including your auditors. They're one of your key stakeholders. So if you get it right, it does great things. If you don't do it right, it can cost you a lot of money.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's really all I really wanted to talk about.
Thank you. And also, as I said, you're an SQF auditor, working for certification bodies, an SQF registered SQF trainer, offering SQF training, and a registered SQF training as part of that criteria with registered licensed SQF training. Training providers.
Training providers, yeah.
Thank you. Get terminology right, and consulting. So thank you, Cathy. So that's Cathy's details on there as well. And I might just share my screen now.
Sure.
Just bring that up.
Should overtake mine.
Yeah. So thank you everyone for joining today. If you have any questions that you'd either like to ask Cathy or myself, please feel free to reach out. Happy to support. We also welcome any, as I mentioned earlier, any feedback or suggestions for future webinars. We very much open to what you believe would be beneficial to your organization or yourself personally. And hopefully we get to see you if possible at the SQF Focus Days coming up in Melbourne and Auckland, and likewise in the States next year. Thank you, Cathy. Thank you everyone for your time. Greatly appreciated. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Cathy. Thanks everyone.
Thank you.